Hey everyone, welcome to the first Draw More tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about planes, cubes, and cylinders. But first, let's talk about materials. For materials, I use 11 by 17 printer paper because it's large and you can move your arm around a lot. I usually use these cheap ballpoint Bic pens, but today I'm going to be using a Roller Glide ballpoint pen for better contrast. Before we move on to planes, cubes, and cylinders, let's look at 1-point and 2-point perspective. In this first image, you see how you have the horizon line, and then you have the center point, which is on the horizon line, and then lines that converge into the center point, giving you that 1-point perspective. In this second image, I highlighted some areas where planes have been illustrated within this painting. And lastly, in this third image, you can see how patterns are applied in 1-point perspective. So with 1 point, you want to lead every line back to this center point. And after you have at least 2 lines, you're going to create lines that are parallel with the horizon line. And there you have a plane. To then create a cube, you want to include the z-axis. And the z-axis is what creates the three-dimensional space. And these lines will go perpendicular to the horizon line. And make a point here, follow it back to that center point. And there you've got a vertical plane in this area. All right, let's complete this cube. There you have a cube in 1-point perspective. Moving on to 2-point perspective. In this image, you'll see that the 2 points fall off the image, so I added a little more room to illustrate where these points are. So you still have the horizon line, and then you also have the left and right vantage points. In the middle of the image, you'll see that there's a red plane that is created by these 2 vantage points. And in this second image, you can see that the right vantage point disappears off the image, but I wanted to focus more on how 2 planes create a volume, such as this building. I also wanted to mention that since this is a building, it will be taller than you, and when objects are taller than you, that means that those planes of that volume will be above that horizon line. So let's first make a plane in 2-point perspective. I'm going to make the corner of this plane right here. So after you've made these 2 lines, you can start either on the right or the left, doesn't really matter. But the point on the left line goes back to the right, and vice versa. The point on the right line goes back to the left. And there you have a plane. To make the cube, very similar to 1-point perspective. Just make your lines perpendicular to the horizon line. Let's make it right here. The closer your plane or surface of the cube is to the horizon line, the tighter or more narrow that plane or surface is going to be. And it's a little more difficult as well. Let's make another cube over here. There you have it, planes and cubes in 1-point and 2-point perspective.